I'm going to level with you. What we're going to talk about today is going to become a bigger and bigger and bigger problem, right? It is something that is pervasive already. There's probably a lot of people that are involved in it that we don't already know about. And there have been rumors about this for a while, but it is now completely broken through. The world of football, like the world of soccer, is going to have some sort of reckoning like 8 to 10 years from now. But right now, we're in the early stages where we can pretend like it's not going to become a systemic problem. Right now, what's happening is Lucas Paqueta is fucked. The dude is completely screwed. He is innocent until proven guilty, although he is also not being put in jail. As far as I understand, the charges are just coming from the FA. So, we're not talking about the deprivation of freedom here. We're talking about you being deprived from being able to play in the English FA. And I imagine FIFA might have something to say about it after that, but I honestly don't know how that process works very much. So we can throw the whole innocent until proven guilty thing out the window and just say that there is a lot of smoke around the idea of Lucas Paqueta betting on games or having somebody else bet on games in which he is attempting to influence things that are detrimental to his team. That is probably the worst thing you can do as a sportsman outside of maliciously attacking somebody. I mean, like on the field. This is the worst thing that you can do on the field as a sportsman. He's basically torpedoed the integrity of the game. I mean, I realize that what we're talking about here is 4 particular instances that the FA is investigating where he allegedly went and got a yellow card because he told somebody who put a big bet on him getting a yellow card, right? Like, that's what we're talking about here. But that is also detrimental. I mean, that invalidates the whole thing that we assume while we're watching sports. Then we get ridiculously emotionally invested in the watching of the sports. And we assume is they're trying to win, right? In the moment that you ever have any shred of doubt that the players are trying to win, that the referee is impartial, then everything falls apart. This whole fragile structure of the idea of sports disintegrates. You can't become emotionally invested in something where you can't be sure that the players are actually doing everything possible to win. Now, this first really hit the fan, as most things do, when that little Italian starts tweeting up again. I actually don't know if he's little at all, but Fabrizio Romano. Dang it, a siren. Like I was saying, I don't actually know if Fabrizio Romano's little, so that's unfair, but Lucas Paqueta has been charged by English FA with misconduct in relation to alleged breaches of FA rules E5 and F3. I really appreciate him specifying which rules they are because nobody gives a shit. But anyways, he says it's alleged that he directly sought to influence the progress, conduct, or any other aspect of or occurrence in these matches by intentionally seeking to receive a card from the referee for the improper purpose of affecting the betting market in order for one or more persons to profit from betting. He's also been charged with 2 breaches of Rule F3 in respect to alleged failures to comply pursuant to FA Rule 2. I don't know why Fabrizio Romano has suddenly turned into a legal analyst for the way that the FA's code of conduct has been written, but it is pretty obvious what Lucas Paqueta is being accused of. And it is worth mentioning, as Capable of Flight points out, there was a 10-year ban for 1 yellow card spot fixing for a guy named Keenan Isaac at Stratford Town. And what we are talking about are 4 instances of that. So if you're good at math, 40 years, or if it sort of amplifies, we're looking at a lifetime ban. That's why I started this by saying essentially Lucas Paqueta is fucked. If one of these 4 is proven, right, by the FA, and I guarantee you they wouldn't be charging him if they didn't think they had a damn good chance to prove it, he's done. He's never gonna play again. Like he might be able to go play in some Brazilian state league, but he's never going to play in England again. He's never going to play in any self-respecting top league again. It is done. And the big difference, you might be wondering, like, how is this different from the other instances of gambling? We've got Sandro Tonali, currently suspended for a long time. We've got that Brentford striker's name I can't remember, but he bet like 300 times and got suspended for 9 months. Ivan Toney. Don't know why my brain took so long to pull that one out. The filing cabinet department is off today. It's a long weekend. But those 2 guys were suspended for betting on games that they weren't involved in, far as I understand it, right? What we're talking about here is Paqueta knowingly affecting the outcome of the game in a negative way to make things bad happen. I agree that that is infinitely worse. It is punished as something that's infinitely worse for all the reasons I was talking about earlier, and so it is something that's just incredibly bad. Unrelated to Ivan Toney and Sandro Tonali, clearly having gambling addictions, or at the very least a gambling problem, just betting on a bunch of games. I also want to be clear, I don't have a problem if you bet on your team to win, because I feel like if you're betting on your team to win, you're just kind of insanely confident. You're just trying to amplify your salary, basically. I feel like if you're betting on, your team to win, it's not a problem. I honestly feel like if you're doing everything in gambling except for what Lucas Paqueta is being accused of doing, it's probably fine. The only reason they don't allow that is because it would be way harder to police if people are allowed to bet on everything except for, potentially influencing the outcome of their own game. But if this guy, Keenan Isaac, whose name's been dug up, I'm sure against his will in this situation, it was suspended for 10 years for one instance, and Paqueta is accused of. He's accused of 4 instances and then breaking some other rule that Fabrizio Romano doesn't necessarily specify. He is very, very deeply underwater here. But the question people were asking is, what are the 4 instances in which Lucas Paqueta is being potentially punished for? And then people started to find the video of those 4 instances, and I'm going to be entirely honest with you. It doesn't look good, right? Like, I'm not the judge. I'm not the lawyer. I am just the person watching the video of the 4 instances that are apparently the 4 instances that Lucas Paqueta is being investigated for, and it looks a lot like he's trying to get a yellow card. Not a little, it looks a lot like that. If you view it through the lens of he's being investigated for trying to get that yellow card in this game, it looks like he's trying to get a yellow card in the game. It's bad. But this is the example. West Ham against Aston Villa, 69th minute of play. Lucas Paqueta is in number 11. What he's going to do first is just hit a dude for no reason. Observe as Lucas Paqueta ranges over and just takes a piece of this guy for absolutely no reason. But much to Lucas Paqueta's chagrin, the referee lets him off with a warning. So we watch Lucas Paqueta then commit a war crime against John McGinn. Because if you don't succeed at first, try again. He almost looks disappointed that he couldn't make that challenge on the next guy. Following the ball around. We're following the ball around. Let's see. Where's my opportunity to get a card? Might get subbed out soon, so this is my chance. John McGinn has the ball. Yeah! What is that, bro? I mean, seriously, right after you get a warning, you can't, even if you're not rigging this for a yellow card, if I was a manager, I'd be inconsolably angry. This is so stupid. This is just the dumbest tackle I've ever seen right after getting a warning. There's a 0% chance of getting the ball. And look at McGinn's face after it. McGinn thinks that Paqueta is trying to start a fight, but what McGinn doesn't know is that this isn't a beef between him and Paqueta. It's just Paqueta trying to make money. John McGinn is ready for 3 rounds. He's ready, 5 rounds. Put it top of the card in the UFC. He wants to get in the octagon at that. But Paqueta, immediately after a tackle that is a fight starter in any Sunday League match, he's just going like this. He knows the ref's going to give him a yellow card, and that's that. There are the 3 other instances. This one has a very eerily familiar feeling because Lucas Paqueta just bludgeons 2 people just to make sure. There's the first challenge, and if that wasn't a yellow card, there's another challenge right behind the play, and that is another one of the alleged matches. Obviously, he gets a yellow card for that. He probably should have gotten 2. The other 2, however, look more like bad fouls. This is the first one, West Ham against Leeds, and he kind of just takes an obvious piece of him, but he's able to disguise this as a professional foul and draw himself a yellow card. Who knows what he would have done if he couldn't get this yellow card later in the game. And here is the 4th one. He pretty clearly, when you watch this play a couple of times, sizes the guy up and lunges into him elbow first. But just in case that didn't take care of it, he then gets into an argument with the referee afterwards to pick up what any coach would call a highly unnecessary yellow card, even though it doesn't look as stupid as the first 2 that we watched. But considering those are the 4 incidents that are being investigated, and just one of them could potentially, according to Martin Ziegler, carry up to a lifetime ban by itself, I would make a very comfortable wager myself, not that I should, that he will never play again. And apparently West Ham reports coming out of West Ham are saying that they are worried that he's never going to play again, and Lucas Paqueta was rumored to be involved in a move to Man City, which would have been hilarious because they need to pick up a few more charges on their way out the door, so that would have been fun, maybe a nice meeting of the minds. But if you've been seeing these headlines and wondering if it's another Ivan Toney or Sandro Tonali situation, it's not. It's far worse. And I have as much as I acknowledge the fact that this is a problem, I also have no problem and no qualm with kicking out people that do this in sport. I don't think, and I don't believe Lucas Paqueta, after crossing this bridge, should ever be allowed to play professionally again. He's made enough money. I don't feel bad about him. I don't feel like I'm kicking him out onto the cold street to struggle in life. But he should never be allowed to play professional football again. Once you've crossed this river, it's like Caesar crossing the Rubicon. Anyone know where that phrase comes from? Because I'm about to hit you with some cold, hard Zealand history facts. The Rubicon was the border of like natural Rome, like basically the border into Italy. The reason the phrase crossing the Rubicon means going past the point of no return is once Caesar marched his army from Gaul across the Rubicon, it meant he had declared war on the Roman state. There was essentially no turning back from the moment that he crossed that river. And the same as Caesar, Lucas Paquetas crossed that river. There is no going back. No matter how many times you insist that you are not going to do any more bets on your own yellow cards and this and that and anything else, nobody will ever believe you. This is the same as a referee taking bribes. You can never referee another game because nobody will ever believe you again. The single most important thing that you can have as a referee is integrity, and it turns out as a player is also integrity. But I, for one, am honestly relieved because the accent at the end of Paqueta's name has been bothering me for years. It took me a very long time to learn how to say it, and every single time I've had to say it in this video, I've had to turn on all 8 of my brain cells to really get things flowing. So hopefully this is the last time I'll ever have to talk about Paqueta in a video ever again. But at least I'm saying his name right, and that's gotta count for something. The videos look bad. They look bad.